Hey everyone, we're on a quick summer break, so we're visiting an older episode. This one is on the Alpine Accentor. This was one of our wilder episodes. There are many things unique about this bird, but the biggest thing is the Alpine Accentor has unusually large testes that can constitute nearly 8% of its total body weight, an adaptation driven by its high-frequency mating system. We talk all about this unique mating system in detail, so buckle up for a wild ride. As always, it's the experts John Bates and Shannon Hackett, and myself, RJ, and my wife, Amanda. Okay, let's go grab our binoculars and let's get into it. All right, well, welcome back, everyone. We're here to talk about the Alpine Accentor. So this was a bird that I was not familiar with. Upon researching more, I feel it seems like there's a lot to dive into on this one.
I picked this bird.
Yes.
I did a thing at the museum on bird sex. And so I started finding random facts about birds and sex. And this is the one that blew my mind away the absolute most. So this is a little bit of a not safe for kids episode, unless you want your kids to learn about the weird aspects
the birds
of
and
bird
the bees.
sex.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, so there we go. So this will not be polite or clean or tidy or nice. It'll kind of raise your eyebrows.
Awesome.
As it probably did for you guys when you looked it up. A bird you'd never heard of.
I'm nervous.
And it looks so boring too, right? When you look at pictures of it, it's like, okay, what is this thing? Is kind of nothing. It's a bland-looking passerine bird.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like a robin and a house finch combined a little bit. I don't know if that's a bad description, but for people that haven't heard of them, maybe should we talk a little bit about what it looks like before we get too far into...
I think you just described them fairly well. I mean, they're not anything to necessarily write home about. It's a small family that's called the Prunellidae. They often inhabit high elevations.
And they have a pretty big range, all the way from Europe to Africa, all the way to across Asia to Japan, and all in high elevations.
Yes, we have 52 of them in the Field Museum's collections. There have been a lot of subspecies described. And if you look at the things that these things were described on, mostly based on geography, like Nippolensis, Tibetana, gives you some indication of it. But so there really have been a lot of subspecies. I'm not sure exactly how much actual phenotypic variation there is or how discrete it is. I would guess it's not that discrete, but it hasn't been studied. So,
which is surprising given that at some point in time somebody decided to do all the research that we're going to be talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a tough place to go research. So what are they doing up there?
Well, they're breeding at high elevations. That's what they're doing. Although they do, when they're not breeding, they go down in elevation. So you find them around people in the non-breeding season. So they're not as enigmatic as peg-billed finch. For example, they don't disappear like that. They eat insects and seeds. They have grit. They often eat grit. So now we're getting rid of the kind of the normal aspects of their biology. And they breed from May to August, and they're double brooded, which means they try to have two broods, try to have two nests in a year. And that's as polite as it gets.
Okay. Yes. Let's quit beating around the bush.
Let's listen. Yep. From here on, warning. Cover the ears.
I'm leaving.
I'll cover your ears.
So they are polygynandrous,
Okay.
which is a weird word.
Yes, it is.
But it means that bunches of males and females breed together in the same place. So the males are courting the females are courting the males. And so the female is begging and cooing for males. The males are trying to mate with as many females in this group of 3 to 5. So there's all kinds of swapping and
Okay.
It's not.
Tell us more.
So how big are these groups then that are all
It looks like they're 3 to 5 on average, working together in their own little sex neighborhood. I don't know how to describe it, really. They have a really high copulation rate, 1,000 per clutch copulations.
Whoa.
So, yes, I mean that for real. That's a lot.
See, again, I continue to be completely fascinated as to how somebody actually started realizing
they had to have a counter. There's no way you're like 1, 2, 3 in your head and you're like, oh shoot, I missed one. Oh no, look at it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Getting to 1,000.
Putting a counter 1,000 times is kind of boring too.
So they also have a dominance hierarchy. So there's alpha males and beta males, and then helper males that
delta males.
How big are these groups?
These are the
Zeta males.
So there's mate guarding again, just like we talked about earlier.
It just doesn't work very well.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, it doesn't work very well. So in this bird, because of all the copulations, there's competition inside of the female for sperm to fertilize an egg. So what you do in that point, and you can know that your females are copulating all over the place, and so are you, and you want to try to guard the female, which they'll try to do. But then you want your sperm to be the one that fertilizes the egg. So what that means is that these birds, for their body size, have the largest testis during the breeding season of any bird. And it takes up to 8% of their body weight.
Oh, wow.
God. And so if a 200-pound man would have a 16-pound testis.
That's amazing.
So you can think about that is just, and so it produces enough sperm that there's competition inside the female. So the alpha males are going to have bigger testes, produce more sperm, and in theory then outcompete the race to have your sperm fertilizing the egg. Almost all nests are made of birds that have different fathers. But the female wants to, the female kind of does this begging thing because she wants males that will help provision the young.
Okay. Yeah, good luck with that.
This sounds like so human.
If you've got a testy that big, you're probably not thinking about feeding it.
No, but they are. That's
also
why
sounds human.
But that's why they guard. That's why the males guard the females. So the males are only going to feed the ones that they have high confidence in are theirs.
Okay.
So I don't know how they know this. Whether they're the last sperm they think that goes in there. Yeah, right. Sure, she does.
Believe me, honey.
He's got your eyes.
These are yours. Yeah, he's got your eyes.
Can't you see me begging?
Are the me and Amanda were trying to look this up and we couldn't find an answer. Are the testes, like, do birds have exterior or interior, or where are they?
They're inside.
Okay, that's what we figured.
And often
but,
only one of them in the breeding season develops big.
Okay.
So if outside of the breeding season,
in the Accentors.
Yeah.
That's
outside of the breeding season, you might see 2, but in this case, only one of them grows to be that ginormous of a thing.
So you wouldn't see it. So, because I was looking for pictures, and I
you can't see.
couldn't see anything. Yeah. So, but we did read about protuberances.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us, Shannon.
No, you tell me.
No, you're the expert.
Enough.
We want to hear it from the expert.
No, I'm not an expert in them. I just did a lot of research for my bird sex.
You're the Dr. Ruth of birds.
Didn't she just die?
Yes. You're the living.
No,
Dr.
I'm
Ruth.
really not.
No, but tell us about, or somebody tell us. That's what I was most interested in.
Cloacal protuberances are not uncommon in the breeding season.
So other birds, that's not something
not
unique
a big
to
deal.
And it's.
But they're not usually this big.
Okay.
It's an interesting thing because you can, in the height of the breeding season, often tell males from females in non-dimorphic species, looking at the size of the cloacal protuberance.
Okay.
But but it is interesting in birds because so much of this is internal for the most part.
Okay.
And coming back to testes, as Shannon's saying, like, it's unusual to have a situation where only one testis develops But one of the things that definitely happens in birds very commonly is that testes regress in the non-breeding season, sort of the gonads to a large extent, or to the ovaries to a large extent, and then begin to expand in the breeding season as the breeding season comes along.
So of course I had to look up their name. So Calaris means of the net, then of the neck, and Accentor means someone who sings with others, which I think is pretty interesting. And Prunella, the genus name, comes from German. It means brown, basically. So
it's a good mixture of
what they are and do, right?
Yeah.
So,
wait, so I'm trying to wrap my head around. So how do the other birds know which male has the biggest testes?
Really good question.
They are probably seeing who's having more copulations.
Oh.
And they're not competing for food, so we think of competition for a resource like food, but they're competing for females as the resource. And so the dominance hierarchy, usually if you watch for very long, the dominance hierarchy becomes really clear. Who is like big dogging it into the front of the line, right? and who's not.
Yeah.
So that's what happens if you're fitter, and however you define fitness, and females are clearly looking for birds that will help. And so if you're bigger, if you look stronger, if you sing louder, if you have fewer parasites, whatever it is that that female birds are using to distinguish the quality of their mate, could be a cloacal protuberance, for example, which could indicate a larger testes. I don't know how that relationship works. I don't know.
So that was I thought that was on the female. That's on the male, the protuberance?
So both have them.
Okay.
But the female has a shallower one than males do.
Okay.
So it's not a penis. Some people think it's a penis. I mean, some birds do, like ducks, indeed have that, but that's not what this is.
Okay.
Do the groups, so they have like this hierarchy, is it the same group every mating season, or do they switch up, or do we know?
I don't know that.
I'll bet they know a little bit about it because they've been able to mark, color band birds so that they can keep track of things. But I'll bet part of it is that there's some level of instability in the sense of birds not making it through the year, and so there's going to be a kind of a constant changeover in all of that.
I mean, and as you get old, if you're a male bird, so say you're a really good alpha male now, and you have the beta and the subordinates just waiting for you to kick off, or get so old you can't do what you were used to doing, so that they can ascend to becoming alpha males and get more of copulations in a population. So, you can only maintain your dominance for so long. I always think about what the trade-off would be
if your testes suddenly weighed X% of your body weight. It's definitely going to slow you down over time.
I mean, there's a lot of energy when you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of energy to have 1,000 copulations.
Yeah.
And to spend that much time guarding your female. So I can imagine it's like I don't think there's been a movie that's involved people that has been as dramatic as they actually are on an annual basis during the breeding season.
That's
actually amazing. We should be writing
that movie.
Another movie script to put on the list.
I don't think there's a rating for that one that would.
I think that one will be a big hit.
I like the title though, Accentor.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just like one word. People
I
will
like
remember that.
Accentor.
That's an awesome title.
So what is an accenter?
Yeah, Shannon, what is that word?
Yeah, so awkwardly pivoting.
Accenter means someone who sings with others.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Sings with others.
Perfect.
The sweet side of that whole equation, behavioral
it can be a musical.
equation.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
A musical.
Accenter,
the musical. Well, they do spend a lot of time vocalizing. So maybe.
Is it sings or swings?
Yes. There we go. There's the tagline.
Sings or swings.
If it sings, it swings.
Wait, so do all accentors then, not just the Alpine Accentors, have this
This system.
I'm sorry. What is
that's a good question, and I'm actually.
I don't
sure
think Dunnocks. What do Dunnocks do? Dunnocks is I think their closest living relative.
They've been studied. They do a ton of weird stuff.
Yeah. So it's in their genes.
Okay.
But it works.
It
works from they've been around for millions of years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that 1,000 copulations, what's the time? Like, is that over? How long is that? Are we talking?
10 minutes.
They do double brood. They breed from, they have a normal breeding season, then they raise 2 broods. So that's all they're doing.
No, they're eating in there somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know how much they're eating.
I'm interested in them, like, if a male wants to copulate as much as possible, but he also has to guard the females.
Right. There's a trade-off there that doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
Yeah, so if you can do both of those things, you're the male that the female wants.
Okay.
Because you're likely to have enough energy to provision her young. But then I bet you there's not a single nest that only has one father.
Oh, okay.
I mean, extra pair. I don't even know what a pair is, right?
But I've always said this was something that was really fascinating when genetic techniques to be able to assess parentage came available. One of the things they showed with passerine birds was that the frequency of extra pair copulations was upwards of 30 to 40% in almost everything they looked at.
Wow.
And people always kind of use that to talk about how promiscuous they were. But coming back to this whole accenter problem, I mean, one of the things I always thought was, yes, but most birds actually have strong pair bonds, and that's because males need, you need 2 individuals to raise young effectively in a lot of situations. And so what you don't see across the majority of birds is a complete breakdown in the mating system. And so even though the male only has a 30% chance or 60% chance of knowing that he's the parent, it's still worth it for them to mate with a male or with a female, feed the young in that nest. I think in part because you've just only got so much time to raise young over the course of your lifetime, and so your pair bonds aren't going to break down.
But if this is how you're living in a commune, a sex commune, you're not going to think that your pregnant significant other's baby is necessarily yours.
It's pretty clear you're not thinking at all at that point.
So, yeah.
There's no time.
Wait, so I'm wondering, I get John, when you're saying extra pair, does that mean?
Yes. So if you look at the chicks in the nest,
okay,
it really actually implies primarily to male parentage.
Okay. In
other words, so upwards of 30% of the chicks in that nest were not sired by the male that's feeding at the nest. And again, it's an interesting figure, and one of the interesting things about birds is you'll find these species like accentors where they take it to a whole radical direction. But at the same time, most of the species of songbirds are actually pairing up and raising a set of young, even if there's a possibility that not all those young belong to the male.
Okay.
They still have a pair bond there. The pair bond itself doesn't break down. And the interesting thing about these accentors is there's definitely a pair, sort of a pair bond, I guess. It's an interesting question. What do you call that? Yeah.
I don't know, because what's that show where there's a husband with a whole bunch of wives?
Is it Sister Wives?
Is that what it's called? I mean, the guy's the number one thing. The females rotate in and out. They get old. He tosses them out and gets a younger one who becomes the primary. I don't know. No, I haven't actually watched that show.
I've never have either.
It creeps me out.
I keep thinking about like so we've talked about like the flame bowerbird who spends all this effort building this structure to entice a mate. It takes all this time, and there's the one that comes over, and then it's about to happen, and then somebody else offers a blueberry and it doesn't happen, and it's like his whole life is building up to this. And meanwhile there's the Accentors that are like 1,000 times, like, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's a whole lot of effort for them.
The females are right there and the male.
I mean, talk about the polar extremes, opposites.
Biology is variable.
They definitely are. And across birds there's all kinds of other examples of really interesting skews associated with stuff. So
there's a lot of weird bird sex.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah. In these long-tailed manakins in Costa Rica, they have these alpha and beta males, and they dance to attract females. So it's kind of like the bowerbird system. But when the female comes in, if she's interested, the beta male kind of disappears and the alpha male mates with her. And there have been data sets put together that have suggested that a single male is accounting for 95% of the copulations in the community. Like he's clearly the best dancer. The females love him.
But all those other males help him dance. There's something called a popcorn dance. You should look up videos. It's really
we can talk about this bird at some point. But it's
so they are hopping up and down, and obviously these accessory males are helping this alpha male while, I imagine, anthropomorphically waiting for him to die so that there can be competition, because that is a huge biological advantage. That is a fitness advantage.
Wow.
You have all these things that are helping you be really attractive, and you're just waiting in the wings for your chance.
I'm learning how to dance.
Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan.
But so 95%.
Yeah.
For a period of time.
That's
again,
crazy.
maybe a couple breeding seasons.
Okay.
But if you and again, these are one thing. I have a lot of respect for the people that take the time to go out and mark these birds and follow them around and figure all this stuff out, because it's not trivial. and so it's an interesting world out there.
Yes.
And we get peeks into it because of technology, cameras and high-speed videos. You get insights into things that, even 30 years ago you couldn't do, even 20 years ago.
Well, I'm trying to think, is there anything else about the
I wanted to ask,
haven't you done
there's a lot more to ask.
Yes, I was so psyched for this. So where is the
protuberance?
Yes, where on the bird is it located?
Underneath the tail.
Okay.
On the body.
Okay.
So,
that's
again, if we go back to other things, that's where pee and poop comes out.
Oh, okay.
Too. So there's a lot of things that happen inside that space.
Oh, okay. Okay. So it's all the same.
One house.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Some people are into that.
Who, Amanda? Who?
So is it when the Accentors copulate, is it just like they're two
Yes.
meeting?
Yeah, which is kind of bizarre when you think about the fact that they're in the same place on both males and females.
Yes.
How do you?
There's lots of ways that birds do that. Some even do it on the wing. So they're flying and they do that.
That seems almost easier to me. I'm just saying.
I mean, the male mounts the female. Does he stay there? What?
While they're in the air?
Yeah, well, yes.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Swifts will mate that way.
Really?
That's awesome.
It's like the idea of it, that the fact that it works is still mind-boggling to me.
Seriously.
There you go.
All right. Well, we do have a mailbag question.
Oh, yeah? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a big transition.
This
actually.
is.
Yes.
Yeah. And actually, this is from one of our loyal listeners, Ariana from Logan Square. So she's definitely made it through all the way to this point for her, all the way to her mailbag question.
Hope she likes accentors.
Yeah, it's going to be her new favorite bird. So she says, is it possible to keep a pet bird in an ethical manner? I've read about wing clipping common for pet birds, and it sounds incredibly cruel. Even if you don't clip a pet bird's wings, though, is it fair to keep them confined in a home? I feel curious about how this applies to zoos and sanctuaries as well. And then she also just had a note, random, I recently took a little trip to see a friend in St. Louis, and she was kind enough to indulge my birding hobby. We went to the Riverlands Audubon Center about 30 minutes outside of the city there, and it was an incredible spot for migratory birds. Just thought I'd share.
Oh, cool.
Neat.
Well, that's the easy part. I'm glad. I hope you had a good time.
Yes.
I mean, this is actually I struggle with this a lot, because for someone who grew up the way I do, zoos, I was in awe of zoos. This is the only way I could see anything, right? It's the only way I could travel the world with live things. Picture books sufficed. But I remember we went on a camping trip down the Pacific coast, and we went to San Diego, and we went to the San Diego Zoo, and I didn't even know a place like that existed. And it was incredible, the idea that I could see an elephant and a giraffe and just all of these exotic animals from all over the world in one place. So from that perspective, it makes you care, convinced me to be a biologist, those kinds of things, and now dedicating part of your life to preserving biodiversity. So they're connected often, and zoos have gotten much more humane in how they handle and where they get their animals from. So do I want to see zoos go away? No, but I do understand why people do. But, there's kids that grow up fairly poor like me who are not going to go to the jungles of Africa to see an elephant. And there's something about seeing the real thing. So they serve a purpose, and I think they have a lot of conservation efforts and research efforts that are really important for native birds. So most zoos have research programs that are not just geared towards caring for the animals that are in their zoo, but that are trying to understand how to keep wildlife protected and alive in the wild.
Yeah.
That being said,
they're much they're really well networked these days. In other words, they work collectively across the zoo community in ways I think that make a big difference for animal welfare and things.
That being said, I do not believe in taking birds from the wild and keeping them in your house. Just like there are cats and dogs that need adoption, there are a lot of birds that need adoption as well. People have brought them into captivity. Then the most common thing I think that gets asked is, what are you going to do with them? Well, I'm going to let it be free. Well, birds that have grown up around people can't be free. They have no ability to be that bird in the wild. They think cats are their friends, right? If you have pets in your house, it's not going to be afraid of a cat. It doesn't know how to eat outside. It doesn't even know what its bird behavior is supposed to be like. It doesn't know how to find a mate. So what are you doing when you let it in? When you bring it in, you have to have a commitment to that bird. And you shouldn't just think the bird's going to live for a year or something like that. If you bring a parrot into your house, that thing can outlive you. So that's something you're potentially passing on to your children or your grandchildren. So you have to think hard about whether you have the personal and financial resources, because it's not okay to just let things out. I mean, look what's happening to Florida with all the pythons that have been left out. It's insane. So I do. It's hard. And personally, I don't want a bird as a pet. Even.
No, but you had a crayfish.
I had a crawfish. It ate fish. It was nature red in tooth and claw. The crawfish was awesome.
What was its name?
It didn't have a name.
Oh, okay.
Sebastian.
No, I don't think it did have a name. I don't think we
ever. Yeah. But no, I mean, it's a interesting question, and obviously there are lots of people that take really good care of their animals, and there are other people that don't, and that's one of the tragedies of all of it when it comes right down to it.
I mean, if you take parrots again, super smart, big brained, long lived, they create bonds with the people they're with. And so if you dump them out in the wild, they're going to be despondent and depressed. And you can see that. One of our students, Taylor, who we'll have on sometimes, studies parrots. He has parrots himself, and they become extremely dependent and emotionally vested in you as a person. The idea that you can keep this bird around for a couple of years and then you get bored of it, or your kids get bored and you're just going to let it go outside, that has enormous consequences for the individual. Okay, we think about individual thinking. So most of the stuff I've talked about is emotional thinking about an individual's fate. And what we really should be thinking about is population thinking. And so when you let that one individual out because you want it to be free, you don't know what that thing's going to do in the environment, what parasites it's bringing from wherever it came from, what it's going to do to native species that don't deserve humans to be dumping new competitors in their midst. And so that's not okay. And most people are just not responsible enough. So I don't know. Would you have a pet bird?
I mean, no, not personally, but
no, I don't think so either.
You having a mallard, RJ?
No, they're
no, they might be spying on him. He's not falling for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, here, take this mallard.
I don't know. We never had birds growing up. Did you have birds?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know if I have ever known anyone that did.
I haven't either. But I know when we've gone to PetSmart, they have the cages with the birds, and I can definitely see the appeal of having this beautiful thing in your home that you form a connection with and that sings, and I totally see why it would be attractive, you know.
Yeah, I think it would be fun, but it would be not fun for the bird.
Yeah. I mean, as far as wing clipping goes, I know that seems cruel.
I don't know that that's true.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's an interesting
But birds molt their wing feathers, so you can cut them, and if you decide not to cut them, they'll grow back the next time to be real feathers. Oh. So it's not, when you snip the feathers, you're not cutting bones or anything. At least you shouldn't be.
Well, I mean, the big thing is the reason you do that is
so they don't fly.
But because if they do fly, what's going to happen to them once they get out is probably a pretty short lifespan where
they hit
the next Cooper's
Cooper's
hawk comes along and
wait, so when you're clipping a bird's wings, it's a you have to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought it was a permanent.
I thought it was permanent.
I just didn't know.
I mean, feathers grow and they grow back, but feathers molt. This is part of the natural cycle of birds.
There was a project in southern Arizona for a while where they were trying to reintroduce a species called thick-billed parrot, and they would get them out of the pet trade that had these clipped wings. And they were trying to re-release them into the wild. And one of the things they could do is a technique that I was blown away by called imping, which is basically just taking that feather shaft that's left when the bird's wing is clipped and gluing in another feather of a molted from another bird in such a way that you can actually get them to be able to fly again.
Oh, wow.
And then they'll gradually molt out and molt in new feathers after that. So there's some crazy techniques that people have figured out over the years in those situations.
But there are lots of birds that hit the windows in Chicago, for example, and they end up at a rehab center, and a lot of those birds can be adopted if you want to do that. So because those birds might have a broken wing and they'll never be able to live free and wildlife. If they can be rehabbed and let go, that the centers will, but there are other ways to have a pet bird than taking something from the wild.
Yeah. I know, Shannon, something you said reminded me, in Steamboat, there was an optometrist's office. It was like in Central Park Plaza. And they had, I think it was an African gray parrot in the office. And I remember the first time I went to get eyeglasses there, I asked one of the technicians working there, and she said, we inherited that with the business. This, if you sign a lease for this unit, you have to adopt that parrot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
those birds can live 70, 80 years.
That's
probably.
what she said. She said this bird could live to 80, so it has to just like be part of the arrangement.
Well, and what I wonder in those situations, one thing we don't really have any idea is, we've been talking about the attachments that can evolve, is how do those birds deal with reattaching and things like that, and
animals can die of broken hearts
for sure. Yeah.
Well, thanks for the question, Ariana.
That's such a downer.
Yeah. Should we lighten it up for?
I was just trying to think.
Yeah.
Do we want to transition to Accentors after that?
Yeah.
Back to.
I'm curious what she thinks.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah, Ariana, send us a note and let us know what you think, because we're kind of curious about it as well.
Because it is a really hard question.
Yeah.
You are like me and you love a zoo so much, and you think of them being confined.
Right.
No.
I wanted to circle back to zoos real quick, Shannon. There was something that I was thinking about when you were saying that, and I used to kind of feel like, not anti-zoo, but just, feel kind of like the animals were confined, even though that I think they're taken really good care of. But someone explained to me that, just with the way things are out in the wild right now too, that there's so many things that are endangered and are having their habitats taken away, that a lot of times zoos are the only places where you can actually like see an animal too. There's animals that are going extinct, and I think zoos play an important role in actually like preserving animals as well. So I don't know, someone told me that one time and it stuck with me, so I just wanted to point that out too.
Yeah, there's kind of amazing examples. So California condors are an interesting example of not of a bird that was brought into captivity for any other reason than there were just a few of them left. But the San Diego Zoo played a big part in figuring out how to get California condors to actually reproduce in a situation where it's a bird that doesn't reproduce. They're not accentors. They're not copulating 1,000 times, and it worked. And if you had told me that there were something like 6 condors left in the wild when they brought the last 6 in, and there were several others already in captivity, and now they've been able to actually successfully raise a whole bunch of chicks that have now gone out and have been reintroduced into the Grand Canyon and parts of California. I mean, I think it's a long ways from necessarily knowing you have a stable population of California condors, but at the same time, it's worked, and so things like that definitely happen.
The Living Coast has a relationship with the San Diego Zoo that's really important, and a lot of expertise. There are lots of scientists at zoos, just like there are lots at museums, and most people just don't think about it. So it's not just animal husbandry. There's people actively looking at the genomics and genetics of these birds, things having to do with food and diet and hormones and breeding biology, and trying to figure out how you preserve environments in the wild, and how you make environments in a zoo that are more realistic for the birds, or for the animals that you have in captivity.
And I always remind myself that they often know a lot about some of these details associated with behavior because they're around the animals all the time, and so they can learn things about courtship and feeding and other aspects of the biology of these birds that in the wild people just aren't going to know.
I mean, the Lincoln Park Zoo has some really great scientists. So does the Brookfield Zoo, including mathematical modelers that are modeling population dynamics, that are also on the Committee on Evolutionary Biology, the way John and I are. So they have relationships with students and trained students. And so zoos aren't what they used to be. And they're not what most people think they are. There's deep amounts of research that goes on in zoos. There's usually conservation biology centers. The Smithsonian zoos have a lot of fantastic people working behind the scenes.
Very cool.
We did it. We brought it back to positivity.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, John, do you want to close it out on this one?
Yeah. So this one is a tough one. High mountain birds do a lot of weird things, and accentors are a good example.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We appreciate it. If you have a question for us, you can reach us at podcast.birdsofafeather@gmail.com. If you've been enjoying our podcast, please leave us a review and rating in your podcast app. This goes a long way with helping us get exposure, so if you don't mind, we'd really appreciate it. And see you all next week. We love you all.